I feel like this is the best I've done my makeup in a really long time, so let me show exactly how I did it. Skin prep never changes. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I always go in first with my Rogue Glazing Mist. Of course, next is always going to be my Bubble Hydrating Milky Toner. A lot of people say to pat it in. I don't have time for that. I just rub it in. I'm not change the moisturizer that I use in years. It is the Rhode Barrier Butter. Last step of my routine is to go in with my Stay Glowy Super Gel. I have an entire dedicated brow routine if you want to go watch that. Once the brows are on, I go in with my first product that I never switch up. It is the Charlotte Tilbury Unreal Skin Sheer Glow Foundation Stick. I use mine in the shade 9 Tan Medium. I'm buffing it out with the Makeup by Mario F1. The reason it looks like you're not wearing enough makeup is because you're not layering. If you want it to look like you're wearing makeup, hint, you have to wear a lot of makeup. These for this type of look. We're gonna go in next with a Mary Phillips foundation. This is the Leskin foundation and I use the shade 150. Just because I said you need to layer and put on more makeup doesn't mean I'm telling you to cake your face. As you can tell, I didn't just like slather this all over my skin. I put a decent amount everywhere. Still buffing in with my Makeup by Mario F1. I'm not rubbing, I'm buffing. Going with my bronzer next, and I don't know what the science is behind this. Every time I contour in this type of shape, kind of where I turn it down, I don't really know how to describe it. I feel like my face looks a little bit slimmer. Using the exact same brush, I'm just gonna go in and buff that in. Obviously, depending on your face shape, you know what looks best, so contour as needed, but I always feel like this just like really helps create a good shadow. Another tip when you are layering multiple levels of product, you cannot be swiping it around because it's not going to layer well. If you do not know what I mean by buffing, I just mean like pressing it into the skin, really pack it on. If you suck at nose contour, you need this brush. This is from Patrick Ta. It's his nose contour brush. I've had this for years, so it's looking a little bit busted. It is a cheat code for contouring your nose, especially if you have no clue how to do it. Everyone's face shape and nose shape is different, so contouring is going to depend on the person. Gets a million questions about this blush. It is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Blush in the shade at 63. This is the Real Techniques double-sided blush brush. I'm just going to press it into the skin. This is the perfect shade of blush for any type of look you're doing. It is the perfect base blush for any blush combo you want to achieve. Right after that, for this look, I went in with a little bit of Rhode in the shade Piggy. Take a guess what concealer we're going to use. We're going to use my Tower 28 concealer in the shade EP. However, on my eyelids, I'm going to use this Patrick Ta concealer, and then down here, sculpt out my contour just because the shade is a little bit darker than my Tower 28 one. Still going in with my Makeup by Mario F1. You honestly don't require a ton of brushes for a look like this, and I find using the same brushes over and over again makes everything blend together much more seamlessly. To blend out my concealer, I'm using Patrick Ta's concealer brush. Once you switch to brushes and use brushes for every single step and put down the beauty blender, you will find your makeup look so much more like you're actually wearing makeup, and that is because your beauty sponge that you use every day is soaking up all of your product. The art of using brushes and packing the product in place is why my makeup looks so much like I'm actually wearing makeup. I also like to blend out my concealer up here to my temple, that it creates a very cat eye and a very snatched effect. I doubt anybody is shocked, but I'm going to go in with my Huda Beauty Cherry Blossom Powder to set my under eye. This is my oldest trick in the book. I blend out my concealer and then right away go into setting it without moving my eyes so that I'm not setting any creases in place. The difference that your under eye powder makes is insane. Also, I'm going to lightly set my entire face with the exact same pressed powder, very lightly. Gives my skin a very airbrushed and flawless finish. Eyeshadow always really elevates my look, but it's actually not as hard as you would think. So I'm gonna go in with this shade first from the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes. I'm gonna ever so lightly diffuse this out into the crease. To darken up my crease, I'm going to mix these two shades right here. Practically go in and do the exact same thing, just kind of packing it on the outer end and then blending it in. Then I take a small angled brush and go in and mix these two darker shades of brown. Ever so slightly put them on my lash line and try to kind of wing it out, but not do too much of a wing. You can see how this literally changes the eye look. I go in with whatever is left and put it underneath my eye as well. To buff it all out, I use this shade. Last thing I do to finish it off is I go in with these two shades right here, mix them together and put them and pack them halfway into the middle of my eyelid, and it creates this really beautiful ombre effect. Next, I like to curl and do my lashes, or if you're going to apply eyelashes, you can do that now. Back to the face, I'm gonna go with my Rare Beauty bronzer in the shade Warmed Up. I never rub on my powders. I pat them on just the same way that I pack in my creams, and I feel like that really helps with the layering aspect. You're going to layer on all of your powder products where you put the cream product version of it. To intensify my nose contour, I'm just gonna use a little bit of the bronzer right there. For blush, I use this Juvia's Place palette, and I mix this shade and this little peachy shade. Literally such a beautiful combo. For my highlighter, I mix these two shades right here. I apply this practically like it is my blush, just go right over top. To make this specific look more fun, I mixed these two shades right here and put it on the inner corner of my lid and drug it to the center. Leftover highlighter on the nose. To keep it real, I don't really remember what lip combo I did, so I'm gonna show you something different. CoverGirl Outlast Lip Stain in Iconic Darling first. Same lip stain, but in the shade Admire in the center of my lips. I'm gonna go in with Mary Phillips in the shade Skinny Dip, just kind of to outline what we just did. A little bit of Anastasia Beverly Hills Cotton Candy in the center. Finish it off, Rhode Glazing Mist. Then my L'Oreal setting spray. This is the makeup and the skin all up close. There's no filter on this video. I think there was like halfway through, but I took it off because I didn't realize. But this is what my makeup looks like. Pretty much for any event, I'm doing a variant of this look. I either leave my eyes matte or I add the little shimmer like I did today. This works for prom, this works for graduation, this works for concerts, this works for any formal event, and it also works for the day-to-day if you just want to be a baddie and slay. Let me know if this helped anyone, and let me know what you think or what I could do better. I love you guys so much. Bye!